Is Jungkook running away to America? Shocking airport photos raise questions about his mental state after Sasaeng scandal. Was it truly a work trip? Or was it a silent cry for help? On May 24th, 2025, Jungkook of BTS walked into Gimpo Airport wearing a face mask, a long coat, and sunglasses, but no disguise in the world could cover what fans immediately saw in his posture. Shoulders hunched, head down, steps hurried. For a man known to command stadiums with his presence, his silhouette told a different story. And then came the click, the flashes, the whisper spreading through cyberspace. He's leaving the country. But why now? The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Less than a month after the Sasaeng scandal shook South Korea and exposed gaping holes in idol protection protocols, Jungkook, once vocal, joyful, and deeply connected to his fans, is now silent. His flight to the US wasn't announced by HYB. No promotions were teased. No schedules released. Instead, fans discovered it the way Sasaengs often do, through unauthorized airport photos that went viral within hours. The real question is, was this a work trip or an escape? And more importantly, what state of mind was Jungkook in when he boarded that plane? Photos circulating on social media show more than just an idol leaving his country. They show a young man, beloved by millions, looking over his shoulder, avoiding eye contact, flanked by unusually large security. One fan who was at the airport shared, "He looked scared. Not nervous, scared. I've never seen him like that before." Was he fleeing something more than just cameras? It's impossible to separate his sudden departure from the escalating panic that followed the Sasaeng intrusion at his private apartment in Seoul just weeks ago. That incident, where an obsessed fan reportedly used falsified government documents to gain building access, triggered nationwide outrage and exposed HYB's vulnerabilities. But it did more than raise legal questions, it sparked trauma. And trauma doesn't heal quietly. If Jungkook is running, it's not just from stalkers. It's from a country that watched it all happen and still couldn't stop it. But what truly set fire to the online world wasn't just the photos. It was the lack of context. HYB issued no immediate clarification. There was no manager statement, no press release, no live stream. In the vacuum of official information, speculation exploded. Some say he's meeting with American producers. Others believe it's a personal retreat. But others, those who know the signs of burnout, emotional collapse, and PTSD, say this isn't about career. This is about survival. Mental health experts are now weighing in, pointing out how airport photos, while seemingly harmless, can act as triggers for celebrities who've endured extreme invasions of privacy. And in Jungkook's case, those violations haven't just been physical, they've been digital, too. From leaked schedules to hacked messages, from drones outside windows to Sasaengs posing as delivery personnel. This isn't just fan behavior. It's criminal obsession, enabled by a system that still hasn't caught up with modern threats in a country where photographers own the copyright to their own unauthorized images, even those taken in violation of someone's privacy. The lines are blurred. The photos of Jungkook at Gimpo Airport were quickly monetized by outlets and reposted across X, Instagram, and even fan forums. Every angle of his posture, every pixel of his expression was dissected. And yet he never consented to be part of that conversation. I ask this how we treat someone who gave us his youth. Jungkook, who's been in the spotlight since he was 15, has carried expectations heavier than most adults can fathom. And now, in his late 20s, it appears that weight may be collapsing in on itself. His decision to leave Korea quietly, without even alerting his fandom, might not be a PR tactic, but a survival instinct. Jimin, his closest brother in BTS, has already voiced concern. In a press interview that surfaced just days after Jungkook's departure, Jimin's usually radiant expression turned somber as he said, "His safety is my only concern. Not music, not schedules, just safety." And Jimin knows better than anyone what Jungkook looks like when he's not okay. He saw him tremble during rehearsals. He stayed by his side during police investigations. He was the one who reportedly held Jungkook's hand backstage when the Sasaeng reports first broke, shielding him from both questions and flashbacks. Now, with Jungkook overseas and unreachable, Jimin's worry has spilled into the public eye. And it's not about fandom loyalty. It's about family fear. Behind the glitz of K-pop lies an industry that has long walked a razor-thin line between admiration and exploitation. Sasaeng culture is just one of its darkest facets, rooted in toxic competitiveness and the illusion of intimacy. For some fans, proximity equals power. Knowing more, seeing more, being closer becomes a drug. And idols, under the spotlight since adolescence, become the unwilling suppliers. But Jungkook isn't a product. He's a person who asked for space, and instead got surveillance. He's a singer who gave his heart, and instead got his doors breached. He's an artist in need of rest, and instead got chased through airport terminals. And now, his silence is not just absence. It's resistance. It's a boundary drawn in pain. Jungkook didn't smile for the cameras this time. He didn't wave. He didn't look back. And maybe that's what hurts the most. Because for the first time in over a decade, the boy who once told fans, "I'm always with you," walked away without a word. And perhaps, just perhaps, he needed to SO as the world debates his flight number and theorizes collaborations. The real question remains, will we finally give Jungkook the peace he's asking for? Or will we chase him until he forgets why he ever wanted to be seen? This isn't just about an airport photo. This is about a boy who grew into a man under the weight of a million expectations and is now quietly asking us to let him breathe. And if we love him at all, maybe, just maybe, we finally should. But what happens when silence becomes the only shield you have? Because even as Jungkook's plane disappeared into the horizon, his name stayed behind, echoing through digital halls, whispered in boardrooms, chanted in headlines that cared more about reach than truth. Runaway idol, they say. Hiding from duty, others imply. But the people writing those words never saw the shaking hands, never stood in front of the apartment door he almost couldn't lock fast enough, never watched him check over his shoulder again and again and again. SO, what are we doing? What is this world, this industry, this fandom, this media monster, doing to someone who only ever asked to sing? When Jimin said in that interview, "I hope he can sleep," he wasn't being poetic. He meant it literally. Rumors from staff have swirled for weeks. Jungkook hasn't been sleeping well. Flashbacks. Panic episodes. Sleepless nights that leave his eyes hollow by morning. And now, alone in a foreign hotel in Los Angeles, with blackout curtains pulled shut and phones turned off, he may finally be resting. Or he may be lying awake, counting seconds until someone leaks his location again. Because that's what this has become. A countdown. One fan, in a long Reddit post that's now been archived and widely cited across platforms, confessed they once shared a photo of Jungkook at a private cafe before realizing the consequences. They wrote, "I thought it was harmless. He looked cute. I just wanted to show people, but I didn't think until he left. And then I saw others showing up at the cafe. Then someone followed his car, and then it wasn't harmless anymore." That fan has since quit all social platforms and started a movement called Let Them Be, encouraging others to avoid posting real-time idol locations, no matter how tempting. The movement is small, but maybe it's the beginning of a larger reckoning, because the truth is, it's not just about one photo or one Sasaeng. It's about a system of entitlement, an invisible contract that the world wrote for idols long ago. You exist for us. You perform when we want, you speak when we ask. You show up when we say it's time. You give us everything and we give you fame, but fame isn't freedom. It's never been. And Jungkook knows this now more than ever. The government knows it too. Because what began as a Sasaeng scandal has now reached South Korea's legislative chambers. With public pressure mounting, Seoul's City Council has confirmed discussions around the Artist Protection Act, aiming to create boundaries that finally have legal weight. No more legal gray zones. No more helpless idols waiting for companies to shield them. The bill proposes punishments for unauthorized stalking, digital harassment, and even the commercial sale of leaked schedules or images. And yes, Jungkook's case is at the center of it all, not because he asked to be, but because his suffering was too loud to ignore. Ironically, it's Jungkook's silence now that speaks the loudest. His absence from Korea, his refusal to give interviews, his decision not to share anything on social media. These are not signs of withdrawal. They are acts of resistance. They are declarations that his boundaries matter more than our curiosity. And while some fans mourn the silence, others are beginning to understand. They've started writing letters not to Jungkook's old dorm or his fan mail address, but to government offices, to HYB, to news outlets. Protect him. Leave him alone. Enough is enough. Jin, too, has reportedly taken quiet steps behind the scenes. According to one insider close to BTS's internal circle, Jin personally contacted Jungkook the night before he flew to the US. Not to ask where he was going, not to ask what he was doing, just to say, "You don't have to be strong for us. We're here. We always will be." It's a reminder that while fans may be loud, family, whether blood or bond, is often quiet. And it's in that silence that healing begins. And Jimin, he hasn't spoken again since that interview. But he doesn't have to. His message was heard loud and clear. When he looked into the camera and said, "My brother's safety is all I care about," it wasn't just a quote. It was a warning. A to those who think this is just a phase. A to those who think Jungkook owes them content. A to those who still believe idols are puppets and their lives are a stage. Jimin's eyes said it best. Not this time, because if the price of fame is fear, then perhaps it's time we return the currency. Let Jungkook breathe. Let him sleep. Let him be. And perhaps, just perhaps, if we show him the world can hold his silence with grace, he'll come back one day. Not because we called, but because he felt safe enough to return. Until then, don't ask when the next update is. Don't demand a selfie. Don't send drones or ask strangers in hotels. Just wait. And in that waiting, become the kind of fan who deserves his return. Because if this story teaches us anything, it's this. Jungkook didn't leave his country. He fled the part of it that forgot. He's human, and if we want him back, we'll need to remember that first.